got loose. Mark got loose. And Harvick's getting a run off turn 4. It's going to be a drag race all the way back to the start-finish line. No caution. They're side by side, right to the line. Big crash. Here they come. Checkered flag.
On February 18th, 2007, one of the most insane finishes ever occurred. Mark Martin and Kevin Harvick are side by side going to the checkered flag at the 2007 Daytona 500 as everyone else wrecks behind them. If you show most people this finish, they would say that it is just cool, but to die-hard NASCAR fans, this is history in the making. So who were these two drivers in contention for the win, and why did the favourites to win finish in 41st and 43rd? Well, you're going to find out, because this is the story of the 2007 Daytona 500. So let's start with the driver on the inside, Mark Martin. Mark has entered a new chapter in his career, as he had just left Roush Fenway Racing for a part-time schedule with Ginn Racing. He had a legendary stint at Roush Fenway Racing, picking up 35 wins, but said that he would retire at the end of the 2005 season, however stayed for one last season in 2006 as they could not find a replacement driver for Roush's legendary number 6 car. However, as many drivers did, Martin had a part-time schedule for the 2007 season, with the Daytona 500 being his only superspeedway race. His new team, Ginn Racing, formerly known as MB2 Motorsports, weren't known too well for winning, mainly because they only won twice, once with Johnny Benson and once with Joe Nemechek. But the driver on the outside, Kevin Harvick, has a much deeper story than you might think. Kevin Harvick was driving in Richard Childress's number 29 car, which 6 years earlier was Dale Earnhardt's black number 3 car. Earnhardt tragically passed away in that car on that fateful day 6 years ago, and when Harvick came into that car, it didn't slow down. In fact, at Atlanta Motor Speedway only 3 races later, Harvick won his first race in a side-by-side photo finish over Earnhardt's former rival Jeff Gordon, in the same way that Earnhardt won at the same track over Bobby Labonte in the same way only a year earlier. However, no one expected it to be Harvick and Martin drag racing to the start-finish line at the 2007 Daytona 500. In fact, the fastest drivers finished 41st and 43rd. So what happened to them? Tony Stewart's number 20 Chevrolet Monte Carlo was the fastest car all weekend. He won the Budweiser shootout and the qualifying going into the race. He had already won 2 championships in 2002 and 2005 with his team Joe Gibbs Racing. But Tony seemingly had a curse. He always had bad luck at the Daytona 500, but if he had 1 year to win the Great American Race, this was it. However, you can't win a race in NASCAR without a fight, unless you're at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And the other competitor was Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch was the 2004 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champion, but he was a bit all over the place heading into the 2007 season. He had recently been let go by Roush Fenway Racing for his shenanigans on and off the track. His incident involving a fight with a police officer was the main reason why his days at Roush were over. At the time, he was at Penske Racing in the number 2 car, but the team had failed to win the Daytona 500 up to this point, so it was a tall order to win. But that number 2 Dodge Charger was dead fast that weekend, and it looked like it was getting faster and faster. But on lap 154, Stewart got loose coming out of turn 2, and Busch got such a big run on him that he couldn't slow the car down, and they were both out of contention in a blink of an eye. As both cars were out of contention, Everyone cranked up their engines a notch to see if they could be the winner of the 2007 Daytona 500. But what happened was that more chaos ensued. The race became one of attrition rather than one of tight pack racing, and after one big wreck which included last season's champion Jimmy Johnson, an unlikely leader emerged. That leader was Mark Martin. Mark wasn't known for his superspeedway racing because he rarely won them. His championship contending days were over, but if he couldn't win the championship, maybe he could win the Daytona 500 and go down in history that way. On lap 200, Mark begins the most important 2 laps of his life, but Harvick is all the way back in 7th, so how on earth did he get up front? The answer? He got a huge bump draft from Mark's former teammate, Matt Kenseth. Harvick had led only 2 laps up to this point, and it was only because drivers had to pit for tyres and fuel. But as he weaved his way around traffic, it was very clear that he had the fastest car on the track. Harvick almost got put into the wall twice on the final lap by the number 5 of Kyle Busch, but Harvick never left the throttle once. Mark moved up to block, but got loose and Harvick was in the lead on the outside lane, but Kyle Busch goes onto the apron of turn 4, but he kept his foot on the throttle. He spun out and took out Kenseth, and in the process, they collected pretty much everyone behind them, leaving only 2 drivers in contention to win, driving side by side back to the start-finish line, and the rest is history. Enjoy.
And Harvick's getting a run off turn 4. It's going to be a drag race all the way back to the start-finish line. No caution. They're side by side, right to the line.
Big crash. Here they come. Checkered flag. Harvick. Kevin Harvick wins the Daytona 500.
We got one car on his roof coming across the start-finish line.
Still wrecking. They're wrecking everywhere.
They say that if you want the strange, go and read fantasy. But if you want the bizarre, then read history and science books. And this perfectly explains this series of events. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you soon. Also, before I go, please subscribe to my other channel, Box Jellyfish, which the link to it is in the description. So until next time, take care and goodbye.